Hey, Kevin Guthrie here from Radio Newark. This should be Monday. I really hope it is Monday as this goes out. Sometimes we're a little bit late. I do apologise for that. But this is the first of our 2 weekly podcasts now. Still based on COVID-19 and mental health. Still trying to focus on those areas there because it is very much still happening right now. So as of today, I understand that the restrictions have lifted a little bit more. How are you feeling about that? So apparently we're allowed 6 people in one space, socially distanced, maybe having a drink in the garden, different things. Although I do believe that has been happening in some areas. So things are shifting, and I talked last week about how we move on from that. Today I wanted to talk about empathy, compassion and kindness. And I know just a couple of weeks ago I did the whole week on kindness, but it still feels like there's a lot of compassion that isn't being delivered, or people they're just not being very kind. Where do I think this comes from? I think it comes from people being stuck in their own little worlds and stuck in their own difficulties and problems, and I do understand it. I do get that when we get stuck in our own worlds, it then becomes very difficult for us to see other people's points of views, and that's what's really missing right now, or understand their feelings or their emotions. I also wanted to mention emotional intelligence. So whenever I talk about emotional intelligence, for those of you who don't know what it is, and I'm not patronizing, but some people don't know what that term means. Emotional intelligence for me, very simply, is an acute awareness of understanding our own emotions. And I don't just mean that I feel angry right now or I feel sad. I mean a real deeper understanding. So I could feel angry, but then I have to work out why I feel angry. What was the trigger? What was it that happened or that was said to me to allow me to feel angry? And then when I go down in those levels, then I learn that, I become more emotionally aware. And emotional awareness is a little bit like intelligence. It comes on all different levels, okay? But once we have greater emotional intelligence, then we can therefore work with other people's emotional intelligence, feelings and emotions. There might be a perception that all therapists have great emotional intelligence. That's not entirely the case, I have to say. So how can we... This almost feels like it's going to feed into the podcast from last week. For me, the way forward with this is to lift ourselves again, to lift our heads up from the place of safety that we've been in. Because how long ago now? 8-9 weeks ago, there was a really frightening moment where this country went into semi-lockdown. This country, there was an announcement that said all of these businesses closed. Masses and masses of businesses just closed immediately. Pubs and clubs and hairdressers and cafes and restaurants, loads and loads of places closed. How frightening was that when that happened? And then our Boris stepped forward and went, okay, so this is how it's going to happen. We want you to leave the house once a day to maybe exercise, and if you have to go to the shops, then you can go to the shops. We don't want you to see anybody else. That was such a massive announcement. And in terms of our psyche right there, good grief, in terms of feeling compromised, in terms of feeling unsafe, it was huge. But we really now have to be able to step forward and step out very gently, take baby steps back forward, gently step forward and gently step back into safety. Once we do that, we will stop with the judgment and we will stop with the opinions that are coming forward, because there are masses and masses of opinions. And I always think that if I get involved in somebody else's debate over whether we should be meeting 6 people or not 6 people, or whether I've been out to exercise, then I'm taking energy away from me. We've talked about resilience in the past. We know we've talked about, we've looked at the picture of the little battery, all of those things. Then that's my energy gone. All of this stuff, you will see that all of this stuff begins to feed into the same area, which is this, the mind. It all has an impact on how it is. So please start to make your own world a little bit safer. And if you can make your own world a little bit safer by doing whatever you have to do, then hopefully we will all be kinder and less judgmental of other people's choices, because they get to choose what they want. I'm absolutely cool with whatever anybody wants to do, of course, until it impacts on me and my world and my life. And then then I can get a little bit edgy and a little bit uncomfortable with that. Okay, so kindness, compassion, and empathy. For those that don't know what empathy means, empathy is about feeling other people's feelings without being completely involved in them. So recognizing that somebody feels sad, but not necessarily being in that sadness with them. That's empathy right there. That's empathic. Kindness, those little things that we do for people, holding the door open for somebody. And again, when I think about that one there, if I was out and walking into a shop, which I haven't done for a long time, not a retail shop, would I feel safe now holding the door open for somebody? I would like to think that I would still feel safe enough, and I would like to think that I was still able to do that, because for me that's just polite and it's very mannerly. But think about kindness to self. You see the pattern here, that everything starts with this. Everything starts here, because once we can be kind to ourselves, then we can be kind to others. Once we start to recognize our own feelings and emotions, then we start to recognize other people's feelings and emotions. Once we are compassionate to ourselves, then we can be compassionate to others. So it's really important that we look at those areas, because honestly, there is an awful lot of there's a lack of compassion and kindness and empathy right now, and these times are difficult enough without there also being this further difficulty over people being unkind. There's no need for it. Okay, so let's work on that a little bit, and let's help others to work on that. Okay, I'm going to go. I will be back on Thursday with another subject. If I'm not covering something that you want me to cover, then please give me a shout and let me know what you would like me to cover. I'm still looking for guests. Step forward and talk about their experience of COVID-19 and how they've managed it, how they've worked with it, businesses, personal experience, people with kids, people without kids. I'm looking for all sorts of experiences, because honestly I believe that if we were able to share those safely, then other people would really benefit from that. Okay, have a wonderful week up until Thursday, and I will be back then. Take care. Bye bye.